every single culture completely assimilates to American culture. And they used to be this racist or this bigoted towards Polish people. They were this bigoted towards Irish people. They were this bigoted towards Italians. It's just whatever the flavor of the month is. I mean, Benjamin Franklin literally fucking considered Germans to be swarthy. He thought Germans weren't even white enough. The only whites were Anglo-Saxons. So whiteness or culture is an ever-expanding concept. It's fluid. It's dynamic. There is no such thing as like cultural gatekeeping. It's not a real concept. And it's completely made up. And it's never existed throughout history either, by the way. I mean, the reason why you have modern medicine, or the reason why you have algebra, for example, is a consequence of the Islamic Golden Age greatly advancing mathematics, for example. Do you understand? So there is no like cultural preservation in this form. So it is deeply racist because racist people have come up with this notion that like white culture is different than other cultures, specifically black culture, for example, and that white culture needs to be preserved. But when you ask them what white culture is, it is a completely made up concept that has expanded and has gotten smaller and shrunken throughout time, depending on what the in-group looks like. Understand? Their own values. Like, everyone has the same set of values in regards to humanity, a peaceful existence, things of that nature. But most importantly, like, immigrants that come to this country don't actually radically shift the country's culture. And as a matter of fact, when they do end up changing some elements of, like, I don't know, the country's culture, it's a beautiful thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Understand? In the letter, Franklin considered Swedes to not even be real white people. Yeah. I mean, that's like next level. I don't know what the fuck that. And American culture is very unique. American culture is different than most other Western superpowers because of how diverse American culture is, because of the immigration. America is a nation that has been so successful partially because of how we have always had the brain drain and immigrants coming into the United States for a very long time, like since its beginning, since its inception. So to say that as an American, or to talk about it as like, so you think only white people are accepted culturally in America? Wait, what? Yeah, I get it now. Thanks. What? No. I'm saying that there is no like white culture. It's like a fucking completely made up concept that did not even include Polish people or Irish people or Jewish people, depending on what time you're looking at it, depending on what time frame you're looking at it from. And the very same arguments were launched against Irish immigration. The very same arguments were launched against Polish immigration. The very same arguments were launched against whatever the dominating group of overwhelming immigration was coming from. Okay? What about European whites? What do you mean Europe? What about European whites? The only difference that black culture actually means something as opposed to white culture is because of colonization and slavery. Okay? White culture in and of itself is a completely made up concept. But the reason why black culture is something that people can comprehend or can understand is because African Americans, African descendants of slaves, were ripped away from their homes, their ethnic background, so they were forced to recreate their own new culture. Their own new culture that was bred within an inception from slavery and the abolition of slavery and the civil rights movement And that's why there is such a thing as like black culture, but not necessarily something like white culture. And it's not like black people would want to have black culture specifically, like, but they just don't know where they're fucking from half the time. And that is literally because of rape and because of the cultural genocide of which was an aftermath of which was an effect of slavery. Literally incoherent. Nothing I said is incoherent. Black people have black culture, which is a substitute for African American culture, and the only reason why that exists, unlike white culture, which does not exist, not a real fucking thing, is because when you, as a white person, for example, can trace back your lineage all the way to like Ireland, you could be like, well, on my great grandfather's side, you know, he's Irish from literally this fucking town in Ireland. Whereas a black person has a limitation to where they can trace their lineage back to. Because at a certain point, every single African descendant of slaves in the United States of America was ripped away from their homes, from their ethnic backgrounds, from whatever kind of diverse country or culture or language they came from as a consequence of enslavement. That's the reason. That's why there is like somewhat of a tangible, comprehensible black culture, which is African American culture, whereas there is no white culture because what the fuck is white culture? Like that's, you have British culture maybe. You could say like, oh, well, I'm Irish, I'm British, I'm fucking English, I'm German, I'm Polish. But you do not have that same concept for African descendants of slaves. But basically, black culture exists because white people committed cultural genocide through slavery. Yes, and genocide in general. That's it. As a black American, you were 100% correct. I don't understand those chatters arguments. I think a lot of chatters have never really thought about this, which is fine. America is very segregated, so they don't comprehend it. And it's hard for people to comprehend it. They experience some form of oppression in their own lives, and then they think that it's a consequence of like being white, because the only way that people can experience oppression in America in 2020 is by like whatever identity they're from, whatever their background is, and not necessarily their class position or the economic realities that they're subjected to. It has to be about like race. So they're like, wait a minute, me as a white guy, like that's why I'm being oppressed. Like, no, you're not being oppressed because your great grandfather was Irish. You're probably experiencing some form of oppression as a consequence of coming from a middle class background or a poor background. Okay. This is why there is such a thing as AAVE. There is no Irish American Vernacular English. I've never thought about this, and I think you explained it perfectly. Thank you. At least some people understand what I was saying. People freak out because they hear white people have no culture and hear white people are uncultured. Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah. How Ghana and Uganda have different cultures, i.e., not black culture, because black doesn't exist in Africa in the same way it does here. Yes, exactly. Like Nigerian culture, Ugandan culture is different than one another. Okay, Africa is an incredibly diverse continent. Now there are some ways that you can look at black culture or African culture, because to a similar extent, a lot of African nations have experienced colonization, and therefore there are similarities, but that doesn't mean that their cultures are similar at all. They have a shared, as someone pointed out in the chat, they have a shared colonial legacy, but it's still not the same. I don't think I agree with you. There 100% isn't a white culture, but that doesn't make me culturally British. I'd say it's more of regional culture. Dude, the only reason why you don't think that you're like culturally British is because you're fucking American. And most immigrants feel that way too, possibly as a consequence of you being way, way, way removed from your ancestral lineage there from the Brits. Okay? You're fucking American. Third generation immigrants. It doesn't matter if they're Latinos. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, yellow, brown, purple. Doesn't fucking matter. Whatever color, whatever ethnic background, whatever the creed they have, third generation immigrants are American. Okay? Can you imagine fucking third generation like a third generation Mexican kid being like, oh yeah, I'm really fucking I'm really a product of Mexican culture. I'm Mexican, actually. No, motherfucker. No, that doesn't happen. Even first generation, even fucking dreamers talk about how America and American culture and the English language is all they fucking know because they were brought here as babies, dude. And that's a first generation immigrant. If you come to America when you're fucking 2 years old and your parents bring you over the border, then that's all you know. You go to American school, then that's your culture. That's all you fucking know. And it'd be incredibly cruel to literally ship you back to, I don't know, Guatemala or Mexico or wherever your family's originally from because you don't know anything about that. You don't know anything about fucking Mexico. Some of the dreamers don't even speak fucking Spanish. Spend more time in the cultural ghettos and you'll sing a different tune. Dude, that is idiotic. Cultural ghettos literally exist. Cultural ghetto, by the way, only exists as a consequence of not being able to financially integrate into the American economy. They only exist as a consequence of the American exceptionalism and white supremacy and people literally not allowing first generation immigrants to successfully participate in the American economy. Not that, but not only that, but also, again, that does not pertain to third generation immigrants. You're fucking out of your mind. If you are 3 generations in, you have become American fully. And that is abso-fucking-lutely a fact no matter what your background is. Cultural ghettos exist in a way to in a way to lighten the burden of first generation immigrants. That's the only reason why you have enclaves such as, I guess, cultural ghettos. Is a disgusting way to reference that, by the way. Holy shit. Oh. My girlfriend calls herself Mexican, but she's like third generation immigrant. I think it has to do with the white, non-white racial categorization in this nation. She speaks no Spanish, but comes from the ghetto of like Texan Hispanic immigrants. Okay, she speaks no Spanish. She says she's Mexican. If you were like, yeah, you can't fucking live in America anymore, you have to go live in Mexico, she would have a very tough time living in fucking Mexico. That's the point I'm trying to make. She's American. It's very American to be like, I'm Mexican while literally not speaking any Spanish. Incredible fucking American take. That is no different at that point. That's no different than someone being like, oh, I'm fucking Irish. I'm Irish just because he lives in Boston. Okay? That's literally what like, there's obviously additional like racialized violence and additional issues as it pertains to like being fucking Mexican that does not currently exist anymore with like someone of Irish descent. But in a way, it's not that different than someone who is saying that they're Irish. It's like Italians, another great example. Third generation with no Spanish, and now I'm afraid to go to Mexico, lol. Don't speak for every immigrant. We did well after moving from Russia. Wait, immigrants do remarkably well in America. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, a lot of immigrants do well when they come to America, depending on what country or what circumstance they came here as, not refugees. But most immigrants do very well in America because they're coming from more affluent backgrounds, more affluent beginnings in comparison to fucking to the rest of their country. That's why Nigerians, for example, are the most educated best off ethnic background in this country. Nigerians are like, Nigerian education levels are double. Like Nigerians with a graduate education or higher, that number, that percentage is double or even triple, if I'm not mistaken, the number of whites if you look at like all white people. Why do you think that is? Something that triggers the fuck out of white people, by the way. If you ever want to, if you ever want to frustrate racist people, tell them that the highest educated ethnic background in America is not white people. It's fucking Nigerian people. 1000%, by the way. Average Nigerian median income is higher than white median income too, actually. Of course. That's not surprising at all. It's self-selected too. We must protect this great white culture. What is this? Oh! Dude! What is this, RTBA? I'm stomping that. Anyone who comes to the U.S. on a work visa is extremely overqualified for the jobs they come to. It's the only way you qualify for work visas. The chud myth that immigrants steal American jobs is fucking insane. Yeah, I know. But isn't that like because there are 3,000 Nigerians in the U.S. and all of them are doctors or something? No, because if you're from fucking Nigeria and you have the capacity to come to the United States, you're probably coming from a very affluent beginning, an affluent background. That's it. Like, America doesn't hand out visas to motherfuckers for no reason, okay? That's the point. They have very deliberately, for a very long time, ensured that that every immigrant that comes into the country that's not coming in through familial bonds or through like being related to someone is worth having here or whatever the fuck you would consider. Bro, fuck you. It's fucking Asian Americans. Stop misleading the unsuspecting children in the chat. Wait, what? The video is fake, so you can show it. Anyway, I'm skipping it. The Marxist ascension. Wait, what? Bro, are you all right, dude? Is your brain okay, dude? This guy is like losing his shit. Fucking Asian identity Andy over here, dude. Also, even if it were to be Asian Americans, stop lying. You're always lying, you Weasley little liar. By the way, for the record, even if it was Asian Americans, that still absolutely is my argument. You know that, right? Like, the reason why this is actually a good example. So, people always say, like, what about Asians? They use Asians as a model minority, right? First of all, if you look at, like, third-generation Asians, their fucking scores, their, like, test scores and whatnot, it absolutely also adjusts to the rest of the country. And secondly, the reason why, like, Asians, which is already an insane thing to fucking just loop together. I didn't say black people have the highest, or Africans have the highest education level. I said Nigerians, and you want to compare that to Asians. But the reason why there's like a model minority myth around Asian Americans is because, again, in a similar capacity, Asians, depending on what status they arrived in the country, I'm not talking about like Vietnamese, for example, but Asian Americans, in a similar way to Nigerians and Turkish people and numerous other people that are coming into the United States, are coming from more affluent backgrounds. That's it. That's why they outperform other groups in the country. That's how it works, especially if we're talking about first generation immigrants. It always goes back to socioeconomic conditions. Okay? Doesn't this make race a bigger separation gap than class does? I thought it would be having the opposite of poor people, but having different ethnic backgrounds are closer together than people of the same race. What? Professed remorse in DMs a few days after the ban from Assam, but their logs made me feel like they'll just be toxic again. So if you're reading this, they probably deserve a ban. Okay, we'll see what he says when he's on banned. Why sub-Saharan African immigrants to America are the most educated? A real example of the American take you were talking about earlier. I'm proud to say that my blood last name is Bambini, and although my ancestry's DNA gives me 0 Italian DNA on my dad's side, I'll stick with being 1/4 Italian. Bambini. It's amazing you understand how educated Nigerians are, but you continue to disrespect my culture by refusing to call us doctors. Yes, I don't call every Nigerian a doctor. Bambini. I don't get it. If it's LMAO educated Asians myth, but when that's the same reasons exist for why Nigerians are educated, it's not a myth. Care to explain? Wait, what? I'm not shitting on Asian people at all, dummy. I'm saying that the reason why there is a racialized myth around Asians in America being the model minority is a consequence of immigration and their immigration status being subjected to additional scrutiny. Hello. Just like Nigerians, it's the exact fucking same. It has nothing to do with like the race or culture of Asian folks and everything to do with the fact that the Asian folks that are coming into the United States are already coming from more affluent beginnings. Stop saying we have to get them out. I think these are good. These are a lot of conversations that I haven't done deep dives into in a while. I mean, if you are accepted in America because you're white and live the American way, but if I immigrated to America, my way of living won't be accepted. What's your way of living? Like, what do you want to live in a fucking hut? Like, I don't understand your way of living. You're making it seem like you're from a different fucking background than what is accepted in America, and like, and I don't understand it. Like, I don't get what you're trying to say. Are you LARPing as like a fucking immigrant in the chat right now or something? Like, hey, I am a black man from Africa. Like, is that what you're going to do? MR Ajan, should we reject misogynistic immigrants? Mr. Ajan, what? You have all foreign policy exchange students in my university district drive Lambos and Ferraris and shit. Anyway. I'm a black man from Africa. And I'm here to tell you that we want to live in huts. I'm black, I swear. Yeah. We want to do what genocide did to white man. No, the model minority myth is a predict of racial divisions, i.e., the people in power were afraid of Asian and black identifying people coming together and saw there, so they created a narrative of Asian Americans being the model, and the populations of Asian immigrants played into that and recognized it as an opportunity. Unfortunately, the model minority myth is written into law. What? Some of the viewers here don't know the inside joke around doctors. You're disregarding culture, but it's 100% the reason why Asians do better than other ethnicities regarding education. I feel like some of you have never met like a third generation Asian dude. Like, which is understandable. It's not like a super high percentage. I'm Asian and I suck at school, Pog. Yeah. I mean, I have second gen Asian homies, and also my cousins are literally, are they third gen? I guess they're technically third gen, and they're just fucking American, dude. They're just American, and their educational outcomes are going to resemble an average American student. Like there's no indication that like third gen Asians are better off in the education system. Wouldn't you say you're West Asian? Technically, I myself, depending on where you're looking at it as, would be classified as Asian as well, but Caucasian. Doesn't the third gen Asian thing prove the culture point? America's actively making people dumber in 1 to 2 generations. Not necessarily dumber. Anyway. I have a friend in high school that was 7th generation American. Parents moved in during the Union Pacific Rail construction, and they're as white as you can get, LMAO. Another fun fact for a lot of people who will be shocked to find out, but there's a lot of dumb Asian folk in Asian countries as well. Like, this is going to be a remarkable thing to find out. But hey, guess what? Like, some people are dumb, some people are smart, some people have better educational opportunities, and those with better educational opportunities are able to come to the United States of America if they are from a more affluent background, and therefore it's a sampling bias built into the immigration system. That's just how it works. It has nothing to do with like culture or anything like that. Also, people who have third generation Chinese French Americans fuck. The only thing that would makes I would say makes her Asian is that she isn't afraid to eat Chinese foods, certain Chinese foods.
Unless I'm nuts, that's pretty much where we are. And Trump looks at me. He's sitting. He looks up and he goes, do I recognize you? I recognize you. And I said, oh, well, I'm on Tucker a lot. He goes, oh, that must be it. Then he turns to David, my husband. He goes, who are you? David goes, well, I'm his husband. He goes, husband? He goes, you know what your only problem is? Your problem is you guys are too handsome. You guys are just too handsome. That's your problem. Then he goes, Melania. He goes, honey, can you believe it? These guys are gay. Can you believe it? He goes,
oh, I should have waited to finish that one, dude. That's a great video. Chinese economy to overtake the U.S. by 2028 due to COVID. Brother, that's why they released the virus on the world, brother. I knew it. I knew it. They're basically admitting it. They're flexing on us. If Asians are more educated because Asians who immigrate have a higher status and Nigerians are more educated because Nigerians who immigrate are of a higher status, then why would you point out that Nigerians are the most educated group? Maybe because Nigerians are from one country and Asians are from an entire continent, a pretty sizable one too. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is literally because it's entirely the same as it pertains to immigration and ethnic backgrounds that you would not consider to be like, you know, traditionally American because they're non-white. I think the only reason why I think the only reason why you're getting frustrated by this is because, again, like, the Chinese economy already is greater than the U.S. if you take into account purchasing power. React playlist, evangelicals double down. Oh, the greatest evangelical double down.
Holy Kool-Aid.
I said, Lord, Joe Biden don't need to be president. And
listen, brother, I need you to understand Nigeria is a whole continent like Asia, okay? I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make this work. Asia is a country just like Nigeria is, brother. Okay, let's look at some fucking Billy Ray Cyrus Andy over here.
And just like this.
I'm not frustrated. I'm trying to understand the logic, man. Okay. Let me just walk you through the steps. This is the last time I'm going to do it before we get into, you know, our favorite pastime of looking at evangelical MAGA psychos fucking failing to recognize that Trump lost the election. The very same reason why people from Asian countries that immigrate into the United States, especially in the first generation, outperform people that already live in the United States is the exact same reason why people from Nigeria that are immigrating outperform other ethnicities in the United States. It's because they are coming from more affluent socioeconomic conditions. Okay? If you can get to America from a country in the African continent or from a country in the Asian continent, you are very likely from a more affluent beginning. This is the reason that is infinitely more significant when looking at why someone would be better educated than others. Replace Asia with Korea. How does your answer change? I think Nigerians are still higher educated than Koreans. Yes. Nigerians are the most educated in comparison to every other ethnic background. Nigerian immigrants. It's just what it is. I don't know. They're just the highest educated group. I'm sorry. That's just what the stats show. I don't know why you are still so upset about it. I don't know why this is such an upsetting statistic for people. But I've already given you the reason for it. Okay? I've already given you why that is very likely the case. But what you're saying kind of proves the cultural argument, doesn't? Are you saying that after being immersed in American culture for 2-3 generations, their success in education becomes an average in comparison to the rest of the American population because they're no longer in the strict work ethic? Oh my God, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. It is not the work ethic. Okay? It is not the work ethic. It's not the fucking work ethic. It's the same reason why wealthy people and their children have different outcomes. It's the same reason why if you are someone who was able to generate a lot of wealth for yourself, your child doesn't necessarily have that same likelihood of generating wealth, despite the fact that you now have, especially in the second generation maybe, but by the third generation, you don't necessarily have that same outcome in a lot of circumstances, and that's because It's just normalizing, okay? Anyway, we're gonna continue. A regression to the mean? Yes. Also, it's top of the hour every hour. Before we move out of this stun lock, I'm moving out of the stun lock, but I'm going to run an ad right now. You can, before we get to the evangelical pastors, you can subscribe if you no longer want to see ads. Okay, you can subscribe for free even with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. There is the ad now, and I'm starting the video, and I gotta go pee.
Just like if you'd answered me. He said he won't.
Last month, I showed you how some of the most famous pastors on earth falsely prophesied that Trump would win the 2020 US presidential election.
I want to say without question, Trump is going to win the election.
You said, this one that I shall raise up from New York, I will give him 2 terms.
And how after they failed to predict Biden's victory, they kind of went full meltdown.
The Associated Press said that Joe Biden is president. Ha!
Oh, that's so good. I love this one.
You vote these liberal leftists in and they worship the devil. They're evil. You talking about the Illuminati? They are the Illuminati.
I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory.
This still does it for me.
Of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory.
They went into denial.
Joe Biden is not the president-elect. He never will be the president of the United States.
And doubled down on their predictions.
The Lord is sending his angel.
Well, since then, rather than backing down and admitting that they were wrong, most of them have doubled down harder.
Trump is going to get in the White House. I believe that 1,000%. I don't have one bit of a doubt. I don't have basketball-sized ulcers. I'm not chewing my fingernails to the quick. I'm not going to go to bed tonight and lose 1 ounce or a wink of sleep. President Trump won. He will be re-elected and inaugurated for a second term, 100%. Joe Biden did not win. Donald Trump single-handedly won the largest margin victory in the United States of America.
Are you saying that all of this is culminating in, and I'm going to press you on this, Chris, in Donald Trump getting his second term of presidency?
It has to, yes.
That's what I hear.
Yes.
I'm not going to trust in what I see and what I hear. I'm going to trust in what God said. There's got to be a restoration of trusting God and his prophets. And so I see a lot of prophets are peeling off left and right saying, okay, we've lost it. I apologize. I am not apologizing. Donald J. Trump will serve a second term.
I believe that Trump's going to be president. God didn't give me a prophetic word that he would, but I believe the prophets.
I dreamed that Donald Trump got reelected. There's no guessing games. He is the one that God's going to put his hands on.
I get letters all the time about, you missed your prediction on Trump. He didn't win. Where is your faith? Where are the people believing the prophets? Well, I believe the prophets. I am looking with great anticipation for President Trump to serve a second term and go down as one of the greatest presidents in history.
Oh my God! Wow!
As each milestone in the electoral process came and went, with Biden still being the very clear winner, they kept pushing back the dates that the prophecy would come to pass.
Mark your calendar for December 12th, 2020.
What? Uh-oh.
Dates that the prophecy would come to pass.
Mark.
Drippy pastor alert. Drippy prophet alert. What is this, bro? Yo, if you get your fucking God advice from a dude who literally looks like a medic from a Mass Effect, he looks like a Mass Effect NPC, dude. Okay? What are all these zippers, bro? What are you putting in these pockets? Like, what could you be putting in these pockets? I'm stuck. Holy crap, dude. He's got buttons too if the zippers don't cut it. Oh my God. Fucking disastrous.
Your calendar for December 12th, 2020.
Hey, anonymous
remarkable
gifter,
is
thank
going to
you
happen.
for the
God
7
is
tier
going
1
to
gifts.
bring a thick red on circling the December 12th. A red wave is going to come because God wants to bring an amazing victory for President Donald J. Trump. The Lord is going to do amazing things. He's going to bring the red wave and he's on the move. God is never late. He's on time.
Well, that aged like milk.
President Donald J. Trump is going to win in Jesus' name. Hallelujah.
What the fuck? Bro, 70,000 views? Who are these fucking freaks, dude? Also, again, my dude loves these fucking crazy jackets.
Hallelujah. God will bring victory for...
Oh, come on. Okay, he's doing it as a joke. Come on, dude. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God.
President Trump and for this nation as we, the church, continue to pray.
Brother Sid Roth said, there is a miracle that is in the making and the waiting.
But watch these next 2 weeks. It shall be shocking and awe that I may bring a December that you will remember.
Stop clapping.
It just came in the spirit, and it was a vision. And I saw Trump and numbers going up. Then I saw numbers the same way below it, about half the size, half the length, going down. And it said Biden. I heard now is the time.
I mean, you can see why they're doing this. Like, you can see why these prophetic visions are coming in, you know? The prophetic visions are coming in because their prophecy is just, if I say some crazy shit, I'm going to get a bunch of psychotic evangelicals to believe in me. And the numbers are going to be increasing. I am the prophet. I mean, there is not... This is just Mr. Beast, but for, Donald Trump. Mr. Beast has a very good way of seeing what kind of content is going to pop the fuck off. So do these guys.
Time for my people to sing the song of victory. Sing it boldly and let all the spirit world know that you are not going to, you're not going to take no for an answer. This is the words of the Lord. For you do not think I can make things right by Christmas. I can too.
I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
January 20th is when the inauguration happens. This drama, which has us so engaged, could go through December into January.
Your fantasies can't ever be quenched, can they? You freaking freaks! When will you learn? When will you learn?
It takes us.
Dude, I just don't even put those in there, man. It's funnier. It's funnier when it's just like, it's a radical juicer. It's funnier if it's just like
seasoned prophet,
the priest,
to really understand it. And I know a few that are absolutely accurate. I would be shocked if they ever made a mistake. And all of them are saying President Trump has won. I know that President Trump will have 2 terms as president of the United States.
I mean, none of them are going to get punished for it. Like, none of their fans are going to be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you just kind of led us astray there, brother. Trump isn't president. Like, that's not happening. You know?
States. It's just an absolute knowing. I mean, you can't talk me out of the fact that President Trump will have a miracle second term.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
The only way that some of these gifted mavericks could account for their prophetic failures was to appeal to conspiracy. They claimed Trump had one and the election was stolen.
You have got to break your.
Thank you, 78A55 for the 5-tier gift subs. So, the thing I'll never understand about these prophecies is that, like, bitch, how does your prophecy not foresee a bunch of leftist cucks stealing the election? Like, if you can see the prophecy that Donald Trump's the next president and he's not the next president, then that's not a prophecy. Okay? Like what? You mean to tell me that God duped you? Kenneth Copeland is the definition of the example as to why being rich doesn't equal being smart or successful, yet people still idolize millionaires. Yeah. Ace41, thank you for the... What is happening? Why are people gifting hella subs right now? Thank you, Ace41, for the 10 tier 1 gift subs.
Your fear of speaking the truth, calling this election what God calls it, a fraud.
I don't know why they're calling themselves YouTube. I think they're revealing what really is going on. They ought to call themselves You Scared, because the truth of the matter is they're scared of truth. They're scared of what God is really going to force this nation to have to embrace, and that is truth.
Thank you,
President
Noah Rife
Trump
Gaming.
does not need to concede. He won. He won decisively.
I don't care what CNN says.
Okay.
I don't care what even Fox is saying, because Fox is falling off. Fox is now turned into traitors, but that's because they were bought by Disney.
Stop listening to Fox News. They have sold out to George Soros and the rest of them leftist liberals.
Thank you, Motagata,
Salute our new corporate overlords. Now, family.
for the 10 tier 1 gift subs.
If President Trump...
Ugh, these are fucking... these memes are terrible. Thank you, Lone Wolf Studios. Bro, I thought my computer just crashed. Dude, it's... The funny thing is, like, yeah, Fox News is mainstream media. Like, they are right. That is true. But the only reason why they feel that way now is because Fox News is not fucking feeding them the propaganda they're used to getting from Fox.
does not win these lawsuits, then Biden becomes president and he becomes the commander-in-chief. The 70 to 80,000 people will never accept him as president. I'm sorry, million people will never accept him as president, especially if they can prove these machines.
Also, I don't know how Fox News is owned by Disney. Is that even... They literally don't own Fox News, though? Yeah.
Turn votes over, which they did. It's not fake news. They did. They've tested this and proven this already.
The corruption and the evil that has worked its way into the government of America is far worse than we imagined. But God says, I'm going to flip this thing, and it's all going to come to the top and float. You're going to smell how bad it is and how ugly it is.
Thank you, Tanada,
we haven't seen
11
anything yet, but it's coming. God is flipping this thing.
There are many of you watching that the enormity of this fraud, that China's involved, the Dominion machines, the network of absolute deception, which is global and deep and so vast.
Why aren't there any Just Curious Andys in this guy's chat? You know what I mean? Hey, so if God was, if God was telegraphing this info to you, why could he not foresee the fraud? Just curious. Has Hasanabi realized it's a hype train yet? Is that what it is? Oh, that's why I was getting hella fucking subs? Oh, thank you.
Fast. It is hard to absorb. It's hard to believe. But my friend, listen to me. Just because you can't absorb it doesn't make it any less true.
I don't care what none of these fake media airways are saying, because we know Satan is the prince of the airways. They're training people to start believing in aliens. They're also doing DNA shifting with this program called CRISPR.
What
now, this
the
is some
fuck?
heavy
Thank
stuff
you,
I'm telling
Mozana.
you guys about. A program called CRISPR. The Bible says
And Lenny
that
and
when
Carl?
the chip is put into your hand, it will shift your DNA to the number 666.
What the fuck? Yo, why is this lady always rocking bathrobes and shit, too? Gene editing through CRISPR? I think, first of all, I don't think you can gene edit, like, post-birth. I think you can do it, like, and it's very limited. The technology is very limited at this point. It's not like Gattaca level yet. And secondly, I still don't know. What is more confusing to me is Why don't you gene edit some bitches? It will cure cancer one day. Yeah, but God does not want to cure cancer. Thank you, Ray Lee Harris. Bathros, thank you from Satan, brother.
Like, am I crazy? I'm not crazy. Y'all crazy. It ain't me. I ain't crazy. Y'all crazy. Whoever don't agree with me is a nut on this live. It ain't me. It's you. You're the problem, not me. Cause I'm speaking facts. I know that.
Wow, that
Kind of hot, dude.
was pretty brutal even by my standards.
Now we're realizing we're not crazy, they're crazy.
And the Lord gave it to me like this. Behold, the ballots of the laborers who have voted in this election have been kept back by fraud cry out. And we're not only seeing the people cry out, but Gene, we're seeing the ballots cry out.
Despite the fact that no evidence of widespread voter fraud has been presented to date.
President Trump loses another legal battle in Pennsylvania. The Trump campaign is losing a lawsuit to seek to halt vote counting in Michigan. That's
Donald Trump losing another battle here in Georgia.
All 4 of the lawsuits that the Trump administration has filed in our state have been thrown out.
There is no way that the Biden agenda can happen now because America has spoken.
Trump's legal team has filed over 60 cases, and even the conservative judges that he appointed, including 3 Supreme Court justices, found the cases to be without merit and, to be honest, kind of pathetic.
They've lost basically every single one of these cases. They've lost over 60 times.
They make it seem like Legal Eagle is also a right-wing pastor. In the way that they cut this in.
reason I'm in Dallas-Fort Worth is there was a prophetic words given that as Dallas-Fort Worth goes, so will go the nation.
I banned the shit my pants guy for 2 weeks.
5 Supreme Court justices to have courage, and that's what everybody's crying out for is courage.
Look at his face.
What the state of Texas is doing in this moment, I believe, is indeed prophetic. And I think everyone needs to understand the power of their individual act. It could be that Texas will be the catalyst to wake up the rest of the American church.
The US Supreme Court has rejected an attempt by President Donald Trump and the state of Texas to overturn results in the presidential election.
A lot of you that are the child of the devil, you cocky right now. You think you cute because you heard CNN said Trump is Biden is president. You think you're cute.
No, that's not cocky. Trump is a sore loser, and Democratic and conservative judges are simply following the evidence. Realizing that Trump's odds were looking grim, a few pastors began making excuses and hedging.
Did God show you who's going to win the election?
Yes, he did.
If believers, and I know it's always if believers pray.
Right.
So it's the people's fault. Good to know.
And also, too, there's something I can't mention here because it's going to get to him privately. He has to obey this instruction that was given by God. And once he obeys his instruction by May the 21st and the first week of June, it will not offset his election.
Bro, a lot of these people look it, though. Like, they do look it. They look evil. Like, they look like fucking sharks. It's pretty great. God abandoned his hairline.
I say, in other words, he will win if he follows the instructions.
Because this was all set the time frame prophetically, because what's taking place now was not supposed to take place to 2028. I was already shown this whole entire decade. The whole prophetic time frame is off.
You look like a snake!
Other self-proclaimed prophets continued to double down, saying that God was about to work in the final hour. Just wait, you'll see.
And I gave you a prophetic word, and the prophetic word was this: buckle your seatbelts, because it's going to be 11 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. So I think this thing is going to go out to the end.
But I will bring justice this January. And I will bring the sound of celebration and freedom. March of this year. You will see.
March? Yeah, it's January. No, it's February. It's gonna be March. It's gonna be in April, dude. It's coming.
2021 shall be the year of your victory and of your celebration.
What?
Says the living God.
And even push the date of the prophecy back all the way to Inauguration Day.
The end of this is on January the 20th.
Donald Trump is the president. And he's going to be voted in as the president. And on Inauguration Day, he will be the president. I guarantee you, my flight is already booked. I will be in DC in front of the Capitol on the day our president Donald J. Trump.
How big are these people's like? I wish they showed view counts on people like this too, because like I feel like some of these are just like low level grifters, like low tier grifters that they found. You know, they're like dunking on. They're just like padding the decks up a little bit because view count Andy. No, I mean it's dude. Come on, it's a little different when someone is like sharking to 100,000 people versus like 20 people, you know, that you just like found your favorite grifter, but
sworn in. I don't care what nobody say. My God said he would have 2 terms.
I don't care if everybody stones me, false prophet. I'm not flinching because see, Christy and I are going to be in Washington, D.C. at the inauguration on January the 20th, standing there like we did in 2016, celebrating with the Lord that Donald J. Trump is the president of the United States. So we're going to be there. We're already making arrangements to go. Why? Because that's our reality.
And probably the most dangerous of all were the pastors who said that they would never accept Biden as president and who began tossing out straight up revolutionary language.
This is our 1776 moment.
I then saw a representation in Pennsylvania.
I just saw Jesus doing this about the election. Bro, what in the fucking hell is this like Sam Pepper ass fucking titling and thumbnailing, bro? These guys are so crazy. Listen, man, if it was like, if you're doing clickbait, like you're not a legitimate fucking pastor. Like, I'm sorry. What the fuck, dude? 5 reasons why Jesus told me Donald Trump is president. You won't believe number 4. What the fuck? Bro, what is this? Yo, how did you buy this at the toilet factory, by the way? What is this fucking red blazer, dude?
Of our first president, President George Washington. And I then saw President Donald Trump come up and stand beside him, and George Washington put his arm around President Trump and spoke these words.
Holy Ghost gone sexual.
Quote, "You are leading the second revolution to free America from the grips of socialism."
If you're glad to be on the winning side, let's make some noise, DC! I read the back of the book, and it doesn't end with "oh me," it ends with "amen," and this thing is going to turn out all right. We're not going to back up, we're not going to pack up, we're not going to slack up, and we're not going to shut up till we've been taken up by the glory of God, and I am convinced that Donald J. Trump is going to remain the president of the United States. Do you believe that this afternoon, Texas? Hallelujah, we believe that.
Damn, dude, that's a lot of people, bro. That shit is scary. What the fuck? Like Republicans look at like a March for Our Lives rally, right? And it's like young kids fucking celebrating gun control and stuff, and they get fearful. And then on the other side, you have like literal fucking crazy famous evangelical pastors talking about how like, yeah, we're going to take this shit over. God, Jesus beamed to the back of my dome. The reality about Donald Trump's presidency, like that sort of shit. Less people than a big concert. Dude, who cares? That's a lot of fucking people. I mean, that's scary, man.
This is truly dangerous. Many of these pastors are radicalizing their base, and it's downright scary. Even with Trump out of office, this won't just go away. This is what I've been pushing back against with my channel, conference organization, rallies, and public speaking events for over 4 years now. When I started doing this full-time in 2016, it's amazing how often people would ask me why I'm still talking about atheism, religion, and science, and they'd say things like, this conversation's been had and we already won. And 4 years from now, they'll probably be saying the same thing. Meanwhile, these pastors will continue to grow their following and their political influence, and I'll continue to be here pushing back. My videos will always be free, but if you...
He is a bit of an r/atheist Andy, but he's right, dude. It's fucking... YouTube rerun 2020, but memes saved it from being canceled. No, best of Twitch text-to-speech donations 6.